Hi, I'm Jason Hennessey from Everspark Interactive, and what we're going to be talking about today is this Google Penguin refresh. So first off, what is Google Penguin? Penguin was an update that came out back in April of 2012 that had a lot to do with the amount of links and the quality of links that were pointing back to your website. Before I even get started with this whole Penguin refresh and our thoughts on it, what I wanted to do was I just wanted to take us back in time for just a second, and I wanted to talk about the history of SEO and what it took to rank back in the search engine results, even dating back to when Google started in 1998. So what did it look like? If you had a website and you wanted to top rank on Google, what did you have to do back in 1998? Well, we called this the keyword stuffing days. And the reason why we called it that, because if you wanted to top rank, this is what some of the content that you would have to create, which would get indexed and would get spit out within the search engine result pages. And it would look something like this. Are you looking for a New York dentist? We have the best dentist in New York, and our dentist can help you if you live in New York. So we know that we're trying to rank for the word New York dentist. We know we're trying to rank for the word New York best dentist, as well as all the other different semantically related versions of those type of keywords. And so that worked just fine until about 2003. Google got more resources, they got smarter engineers, and they started to discount that as a strategy. So from 2003 to 2011, we're going to call that the link spam days. And the reason why I say that is because by going out and spamming other people's websites and blogs, you were able to get successful results when trying to top rank on Google. So what does that look like? Okay, so just one case would be you find somebody's blog, let's say it's a PageRank 5 blog. It doesn't matter really what the blog was about back then. It didn't have to be too relevant. You're looking just mostly at the PageRank. So you'd go out and you'd leave a comment. We called this ego link building. Something like, hey, great post. I look forward to reading more of your articles. Please let me know if you ever are in need of a New York dentist. And then that would be a hyperlink that would point back to your website. And again, you'd notice as you start to build more and more of those links, you would start to move up on Google. So you might end up on page 5 by building it. And then you said, wait a minute, if this is the route to top ranking, why don't I just go out and hire more people to do this type of link building? And so now you have 7 people going out and doing this spammy type strategies. And next thing you know, bam, you're ranked #1 when you do a search for New York dentist. That was all fine. Okay, so that led all the way up until Penguin, which was again April of 2012. Those type of strategies worked. I'm going to skip over Panda here. Panda was another major update that came out in February of 2011. I'm going to create a whole nother video that we'll talk about the history of that one here, but for now we're just going to focus in on Penguin. All right, so Penguin, what happened with Penguin? Okay, so Google again got smarter and they said, wait a second, we've got all these bad links and all this spam happening and it's not right. We've got to clean up our algorithm a little bit. So what they started to do was they started to scrutinize backlinks that are pointing to every website. So they would take a look at your total link graph, and what I mean by that is they would look at like the total amount of backlinks that are pointing back to your website, as well as the total number of referring domains that was pointing back to your website. And then they would even dig a little bit deeper and they would look at the anchor text percentages. So what were the words and phrases that were being used to link back to your website? And was there any hint of somebody trying to be manipulative, or did it look unnatural? So like in this case here, if you've been doing this for a good 2 to 3 years, there's a good chance that when Google looks at your anchor text, they're going to see things like this. New York dentist. You got 3,000 links making up a total of 36% of your total links pointing back to your website. That looks unnatural, right? New York dentist, 1,700 links, making up 21% of your total anchor text, right? Again, that looks unnatural. When you look at big sites like Fox News and MSNBC and all these other sites, you'll see that in most cases, the #1 link is either their brand name or the URL, www.foxnews.com, not, breaking news or anything like that. So again, this looks very unnatural. So when Google looked at this during the Penguin days, they did one of two things. Okay, so this was pretty bad. So if they saw something like this, there's probably a good chance that you had a manual action that was taken and you went into your Google Webmaster Tools and they said, you are in Google jail and you have to do some stuff just to be able to get out of it. Or they filtered you. And what I mean by that is when you looked in the search result pages, you used to rank for #1 for that term, but now you're maybe on page 5, or maybe you're on page 50, or maybe you're not in the first 100 results at all. Right, so that was an algorithmic filter that happened. All right, so that was Penguin. Okay, so from 2012, April of 2012 through October of 2012, okay, so that was a good, a couple months. And from those days, we started to see a lot of negative SEO. Okay, so these were the months when there was a whole lot of negative SEO because we knew that if you had bad links pointing back to your website, you could get penalized. So what did people do? Well, they started to go out and they started to hire these people again, not to build links to their website, but to build links to some of their competitors' websites in an attempt to get those sites penalized and de-indexed from Google. And they were very successful. And as the owner of a blog or an owner of a site, you had nothing that you can do to take control of the situation because Google didn't offer you any type of tools to fix those type of negative SEO problems. So on October of 2012, I think they released it at PubCon, they came out with this disavow tool. So let's talk about disavow. What does that mean? Okay, so disavow is a tool that you can use to basically go and analyze some of the links that are pointing to your website. So you know that you used to do this type of strategy and you might have been penalized. So you want to clean this mess up now. Or let's just say you didn't do this type of strategy. Somebody took negative SEO and actually built some bad links back to your website, but you were penalized as a result of that. So what we would do here in this case is we would go out and we would take all of the links that are pointing back to your website. So, and we do this all the time where we do link cleanups for some of our clients and stuff like that. So some of the tools that we use is Google Webmaster Tools. We use Ahrefs, which is another link analysis tool, Majestic SEO, and then Moz's Open Site Explorer. So all of them have a lot of the same data, but some of them might have links that some of the other ones might not have indexed yet. So from there, you take all of these links pointing back to your website, and then you build one master Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so now that you have all of these links on one website, on one Excel spreadsheet, now you've got to start to look at the links and analyze the links and say, okay, this is a link from CNN. It was a real story that was written about us. That's actually a good link. We'll keep that one. What is this one? Oh, it looks like this was one of those old comments that maybe our old SEO company did, or some of the negative SEO attacks had basically built against us. So that one's a bad link. So we're going to mark that one off as needs to get removed or disavowed. And so you just went through this list, and in this case here, if they've got a total of 10,000 links, well, you've got a couple weeks worth of work there. But you can't really do it yourself, so maybe you hire some people. And now the next step is to go out and to try to get those links either removed, no followed, or if you can't get in touch with them, then you have to actually build a spreadsheet and you're going to disavow the ones that you actually can't get removed. So you have now those 7 people that used to be real happy because we were ranking at the top of Google. Now they're kind of sad. And the reason they're sad is because they have to reach out to all of those owners of those different sites that they have links coming into and see if they can get those links removed. In most cases, it's very hard to get a link removed, but sometimes you're going to have success and sometimes you're going to have failure. And when you have failure, what you want to do is you want to build an Excel spreadsheet of all of the sites that you have reached out to try to get the links removed. And if those links could not get removed, again, they're on this spreadsheet here. And then with that, now you have to submit the disavow. And again, Google wants to see that you're taking action, so they want you to document the whole process. So they want to see the emails that you attempted to reach out to for all of these different sites, some of the messages that you sent. So they want to see all the the back-end work that you have done in order to first take an attempt to reach out to them, but then second, to actually just submit the actual file and hope that you get approved. In most cases, when you submit a disavow, you don't have success right away. It usually takes 2 to 3 times before you actually get a penalty removed. So that leads us up all the way now to Penguin Refresh. So what is going to happen? All right, so just remember, this was our process. We're just one website that's trying to get a penalty removed. So Google got smart, and when they created this disavow tool, just think about all the other website owners that went out and did this whole process, right? So this site built an Excel spreadsheet, this site built an Excel spreadsheet, all of these Excel spreadsheets. Let's say there's hundreds of thousands of these sites that have all collectively filed a disavow. Well, what does that leave Google with? So Google now has one large database, right? One large database of all of these sites that website owners have deemed bad, right? So they're saying that these links coming from all of these websites are bad and we want to disavow them. All right, so Google is now going to take an algorithmic action with these websites. So what we think is going to happen here at Everspark Interactive is we think that Google is going to take all of these sites and look at the percentages. So if there's a site that ends up on 3 of these spreadsheets or 300 of these spreadsheets and it gets submitted, well, there's a good chance that people are saying that that's a bad link. So Google is going to either A, add hidden no follow tags, which means that those sites will discount the amount of page rank that is being passed, as well as the amount of trust value that is being passed. So algorithmically speaking, based on all this data, it's going to create a big shakeup in the search engine result pages. And so that will be this Google Penguin refresh. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. If you have any questions at all, please be sure to leave them in the comment section or give us a call at the number above. Thank you so much.